5:33 now. President Donald Trump has a new target in the growing trade war, and that's films that are made outside of the United States. In a post last night on his Truth Social platform, the president announced that he authorized the Department of Commerce and the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative to slap a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into the country that are produced in foreign lands.
The president says foreign filmmaking presents a national security threat to the U.S., including messaging and propaganda. When asked about the mistaken deportation of Kilmar Brego Garcia, the president said he didn't know if it was his job to uphold the Constitution, and wavered when asked whether every person in the U.S. is entitled to due process. Trump also announced he wants to rebuild and reopen San Francisco's infamous Alcatraz prison to house violent offenders.
In other news, the Trump administration is restarting collections of defaulted federal student loans today. Our Scripps News Group, Stephanie Liebergen, joins us now. Stephanie, it's good to see you. Can you talk about how many borrowers are impacted and the other steps the federal government is going to be taking this summer?
Hey, Aaron, good morning. Well, in terms of numbers, according to the Department of Education, we're talking about 5.3 million borrowers who are already considered in default. So these are people who haven't made a monthly payment on their student loans in over 360 days, so almost a year. But there's another 4 million borrowers who are in what the Department of Education is calling late stage delinquency, which means they are on the verge of being in default. What this means for borrowers is that they would be subject to involuntary collections, things like wage garnishment. Now, to start, the federal government is only the Trump administration is only going to be going after federal checks. So think about things like a Social Security check, a tax refund that you may be looking ahead to. If you're a student borrower in default, you might not get the entirety of that tax refund. And later this summer, that's when the Trump administration says they're going to start doing wage garnishment from private employers. That is an extra step that the government needs to take in terms of getting all of that set up to get these default collections up and running again. This was something that was paused in March of 2020 at the start of the pandemic. The Biden administration didn't do it in the entirety of his 4 years in the White House, something the Trump administration is resuming because they believe that the American taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for student loan debt that borrowers took out. They believe those borrowers should be responsible for repaying that debt. So this is going to be a big change for those, 5.3 million people across the country, potentially millions more, as people try to start repaying student loans who for some might not have been paying for months or even years during the pandemic, Aaron.
And I'm sure we will be hearing from some of those students in the weeks and months to come. Stephanie, thanks so much.